Good day and welcome us to our today's class. Today we are going to be looking at how to convert a compass bearing to a three-figure bearing. Taking a look at these problems we have before us, any bearing that is written in this form, as you can see here, this is not 35 degree west. This implies that they are in compass was bearing. You know what compass is, right? Compass is just having the four cardinal points, something of this nature, where we have north, south, west, and what east. So these are the four main cardinal what points. So any angle that is written in between any of these what symbols, like in between any of these two symbols, we take such bearing as what a compass bearing. So we want to represent this compass bearing now to a three-figure bearing. Then what do you understand by three-figure bearing? Three-figure bearing are bearing that are written as a three-digit what number. For instance, if you have 5 degree, okay, 5 degree is a single digit, right? So for us to make this to become a three-figure bearing, we need to add extras what 2 zeros by having it as 005 what degree. So this is a three-figure bearing. Then if you have something like 35 degree, if you want to make it a three-figure bearing, it becomes 035 degree as a three-figure bearing. Then you may have some that is already in three digits, just like 180 degree. It's already a three-figure bearing because the number of figures there is 3. Okay, so we want to make this one now that we are seeing here now to be in this word form. Now, how do we go about that? Let's solve the first one. Okay, the first one now we have this solution. We have north 35 degree what west. Now, for us to get the bearing of this, we need to draw our four cardinal points. Okay, drawing our four cardinal points like this, where we have our north, south, west, and what east. Now, one thing you need to bear in mind that in compass bearing, you can take your bearing from the north or from the what south. Okay, our origin can either be from the north or from the what south. And why is this so? It is so because if you are to take a bearing of a particular place or location, now if that location is much closer to the north, that means you have to start your bearing from the north. Or if that location is much closer to the south, you start your bearing from the what south. So in that case, there's something we call clockwise and anti-clockwise. Taking a look at these four cardinal points where we have north, south, west, and what east. Okay, if you move in this direction, I can see the direction of this arrow. It means you are moving what clockwise. Take a look at the hand of the clock. You notice that this is how it moves. It moves in this direction. Then if you are moving anti-clockwise, meaning you are moving opposite of this, okay? Instead of you moving like this, you are now moving in this what direction. Okay, opposite of this is what anti-clockwise. So if you are taking here as your orientation, north, that means you move like this. Okay, this opposite direction. Or if you are taking here as your orientation, you can move like this. Okay, so and here likewise here too, you can also move in this direction too, depending on how close your location is from the world, from the north. For instance, now let's say I have this my cardinal point. Okay, I have my north, my south, west, and what east. Okay, now let's say I have a point here. Okay, there's a point here. Okay, I also have another point here. I have a point here, and I have a point what here. Now, imagine you are asked to take the bearing. What is the bearing of this point? Okay, if you are to determine the bearing of this point, now this point, is this much closer to the north or to the south? It is much closer to the south than it is from the north. So you cannot start from the north to determine the bearing of this place. So either you start from the what? From the south. Okay, so from here we'll move in this direction like this, indicating where the what? Where the point is, because the point is here. So we move in this direction. So the angle that fall within south to this very point, okay, will give us the bearing of this in terms of what? Um, compass bearing. Now say south, that very angle, then north, okay. Then if you are to consider this point now as the location you want to determine the bearing, okay, you can see that here is much closer to the south than it is to the north. So you can move in this direction like this, okay. Then you determine the angle that lies between this south and where this point is. So you call it south, that very angle, then degree what northeast. You can see that is in the eastern direction. They're moving it towards the eastern direction, okay. Likewise, if you have this point here and you want to determine the bearing of this point, this very location. So this location is much closer to the north than it is to the what? South. So you can start from the north here, move towards the what? East. So the angle that lies between this origin, which is north, to this very point where this dot is, okay, the angle there, you now say north, that very angle, degree east, okay. Now look at this point too. You can see that this point here is much closer to the north than it is to the south, okay, and in the opposite what direction to this other point. So you are going to move in this direction, okay. We move in this direction. This direction tells us that the angle we have between this north and where this point is, okay, the very angle we have here will now be north, that very angle in degree, then what? West. You can see the west is in this direction, okay. So that is why you cannot have anything like west north. It's rather you have northwest. Likewise, you can have southwest and northwest south, and here you can have southeast and northeast south, okay. Likewise, here you can have northeast and northeast north, okay. So the direction can go vice versa depending, and all these are applicable to compass bearing, okay. When we get to three-figure bearing, I will also explain in detail the direction in which you move. And for now, let's go into the solution of the problem we have before us, okay. Now here, we are asked to determine the three-figure bearing of this compass bearing, okay. Now you notice that the first initial here is north, the last initial is what? West. So you start from the first initial, north. So from north, we move, okay, in this direction towards the what? West, okay. And the angle we have there is what? 35 what? Degree. So that means here will be 35 degree, okay. So from here to this place is 35 degree. That's why we call it north 35 degree west, okay. So for us to convert this now to three-figure bearing, we have to take from the north, just like I explained. So the north now, if you are converting to three-figure bearing, in three-figure bearing, we only take our origin from the north, and we must always move in the what? Clockwise direction, okay. We move in this direction, okay, when you are taking bearing for three-figure what? Bearing, okay. You move from the north and you move in a clockwise direction. So we are going to take the total angle from here, from this north to this east, from this east to this south, from this south to this what? West. Then we'll now add the additional angle we have here. Now, if you notice from this north to this east, we have angle 90 degree here, okay. From this east again to this south, we have another what? 90 degree. Then from this south to this west, we have another what? 90 what? Degree. Now, from this west to this north here, we have another 90 degree in between. So out of this 90 now, 35 have been taken off. So what is the remaining angle on this spot? That will be 90 minus what? 35, okay? So this remains 8. 10 minus 5 is 5. Then 8 minus 3 is what? 5. So here will be what? 55 degree, okay? So since here is 55 degree now, for us to determine the total angle here now will now be 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 55. So the total angle goes like this, okay, to this very point where this line is drawn. So that will be what? We have north 35 degree west will be equal to what? 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus what? 55. So 90 plus 90 is 180. 180 plus 90 give us 270. So 270 now plus 55. So this is 5. This gives us what? 12. Okay. 1, then 3. So that means this will give us 325 degree as a three-figure bearing. So if you have north 35 degree west as a compass bearing, then in three-figure bearing it becomes what? 325 degree, okay. Now let's go for number B. Since we are done with A now, let's apply the same thing to this number B. B, we have what? North 70 degree what? East. So we'll draw our cardinal point. This is our north, south, west, and what? East. So from the north now, the north is the first initial, while east is the last initial, right? So we are moving from the north toward the what? East. So this is the direction we are moving now, like this. We are moving what? In a clockwise direction. So we move this direction. Angle from here to here is what? 70 degree. Remember I told us that from the north to the east, total angle we have there is 90. Okay, so you notice that the bearing now start from the north. Okay, so since you start from the north, we are not making any further movement again, provided that we have exceeded what? The angle given to us, which is 70 degrees. So this now, where we have north 70 degree east, is the same thing as you having what? 070 what? Degree as our three-figure bearing. So this is 070 degree. Okay, the angle here is 70. So to make it a complete three-figure, we have to add what? 0, okay? Include this 0 before writing the 70. So this automatically gives us what? 070 degree as the three-figure bearing of what? North, 70 degree what? East. Now, what about the C? Let's try the C part. Here we are given what? South 58 degree what? West, okay? So we have to draw our what? Cardinal point again. We have our north, south, west, and what? East, okay? Now, this is what? The first initial here is south, okay? And the last initial is what? West. So we move from the south towards the what? West. You can see the arrow. It's going like this. So from the south towards the west, at what angle is that? This angle here is 58 what? Degree. 58 degree. That's why I call it south 58 degree west. Okay, now how do we now convert this to three-figure bearing? You start from the north here. Okay, from here to here is 90. From here to here again is another 90. So we have 90 here and 90 here. All together will give us 180 plus this 58. So I'm going to have this equals to 90 degree plus 90 degree plus 58 degree. 90 plus 90 give us what? 180, right? So this 180 now, we'll now add it to what? 58. So 180 plus 58. So we have our 8 here. Okay, then 8 plus 5, that gives us 13, right? 3 carry 1, then this is 2, 200 and what? So that means that south 58 degree west is the same thing as what? 238 what? Degree. Okay, this is how we convert a compass bearing to a three-figure bearing. Very simple. So I would love you, my audience, my viewers, to try this number D and let's know what your answer is in the comment word section. It's nice having you, and we hope to see you in our next class. If you are not a follower, please do well to follow us and also invite your friends to join us in this our wonderful class. Bye bye.